Hello, everybody. It's Paul with Torah Life Ministries. We continue to read the Bible here together, and I'm glad I'm back reading the Bible again every single day here with you. So to help answer your questions, but it's my goal to have a website where you can go to any chapter, any verse, anytime, and read up about it. And I have probably more than 75 to 80% of this already done, but we're here and we're going to be finishing up the rest of the books we haven't done. So we are currently up to Esther chapter 7. There's so much from this book that's just so wonderful. Now, it's a very short chapter, so we won't be long today, but we're going to be reading it. We're going to be reading some of the notes. There's not, believe it or not, as much commentary in the book of Esther than any other books out there. There's probably least commentary in the book of Esther, but there's so much in there that reveals Yeshua. And it's really a wonderful, wonderful message and a wonderful book. So we're up here to chapter 7. And if you didn't see chapter 6, you can see it in yesterday's post. So it says, the king executes Haman. So in the last chapter, it says, while they were still talking, the king's eunuchs arrived quickly to Haman to the banquet and took him to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And now remember, this was the second banquet they had prepared. It says, so the king and Haman went to Queen Esther's banquet. On the second occasion, while they were drinking wine, the king again said to Esther, tell me what you want, Queen Esther. What is your request? I will give it to you, even if it's half of the kingdom. And Queen Esther replied, and this is powerful. I'm going to get my highlighter for this one. It says, if I have found favor with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my request, I ask that my life and the lives of my people will be spared. Wow. Wow. For my people, and I have been sold to those who would kill, slaughter, and annihilate us. If we had merely been sold as slaves, I could remain quiet. For that would be too trivial of a matter to warrant a disturbing the king. Who would do such a thing? King Xerxes demanded. Who would be so presumptuous as to touch you? Esther replied, this wicked Haman is our adversary and our enemy. Haman grew pale with fright before the king and queen. Then the king jumped to his feet in rage and went out into the palace garden. Haman, however, stayed behind to plead for his life with Queen Esther, for he knew that the king intended to kill him. In despair, he fell on the couch where Queen Esther was reclining, just as the king was returning from the palace garden. The king exclaimed, will he even assault the queen right here in the palace before my very own eyes? As soon as the king spoke, his attendants covered Haman's face, signaling his doom. So let me go back and read some of this here. It says, that was verse 8. So it says, Haman's hatred and evil plotting turned against him while the king discovered his true intentions. He was impaled on the pole that had been set up for someone else. Proverbs 26:27 teaches that if you set a trap for others, you will get caught. You will get caught in it yourself. What happened to Haman shows the often violent results of setting any kind of trap for others. And then it says in verse 8 here, a veil was placed over the face of someone condemned to death. Persia's king refused to look upon the face of a condemned person. Wow. Wow. This is so powerful. Then we continue where it says in verse 9, then Harbona, one of the king's eunuchs, said, Haman is set up a sharpened pole that stands 75 feet tall in his own courtyard. He intended to use it to impale Mordecai, the man who saved the king from the assassination. Then impale Haman on it, the king ordered. So they impaled Haman on the pole he had set up for Mordecai, and the king's anger subsided. Wow. This story isn't over yet because this decree is still out there that the Jewish people would be killed on this day, signed with the king's very own signet ring. Hopefully, this will make the king more aware of the things he's allowing to be signed into effect. But at least Haman's out of the picture now. And now a decree is going to be set up to help the Jewish people. And this isn't about the Jewish people alone. The point of this story is about righteousness versus wickedness and saving the faith of Yahweh's people. You are Israel if you proclaim Yeshua as your Messiah. You are Israel if you decide to join the Commonwealth of Israel. And it says the way we must live. And I promise you this, one way or another, whether it's through one person, whether it's through one king, whether it's through one military force, one way or another, Yahweh rescues his people on his timing. And ultimately, we're all sentenced to death, not just the Jewish people here in the book of Esther. But he did offer us a way out, a decree, a way to be saved. And that is through one man, his son, Yeshua, a wonderful Messiah. We'll be back tomorrow with chapter 8 of the book of Esther. And we continue to read this every day. Have a blessed day, everybody. Please share this with others and let them know we're reading the Bible here every day. Have a wonderful day. Yahweh be with you, and shalom, shalom.